Hello, my name's Michael Matusik and I'm in Townsville again. Not much has happened here for some time, particularly in the apartment space. And I'm here with the Maidman Group, who actually got a lot of new projects going ahead. I'm actually an independent property analyst. I've been doing this for some time, as the grey beard and bald head would suggest. And this company has actually employed me to help them with a couple of their projects. And one of the things that hasn't happened in Townsville of recent years is there hasn't been a lot of new supply, and the market is very undersupplied. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in this video. What's happening across Queensland is there's been a big influx of interstate buyers and people moving here. Also, there's been a lot of resource projects and Olympic-related things. Now, that's pushed southeast Queensland. Some of those people are actually moving to the regions. It's not only just COVID, it's been priced out of southeast Queensland, and Townsville's one of those strong spots. So if you looked at the last 10 years, Townsville's population's been increasing by about 1,800 people per year. A little bit of a COVID dip. It's now more than double that. And that's been consistent for 2 or 3 years. And I suspect that if you can provide the right housing at the right price points, that population growth will stay there. So it's going to be a challenge for Townsville to provide the right stock, some of it quite expensive and unique, a lot of it more affordable stock, into this market to house those new people. And that'll be interesting moving forward. I think some changes have to happen, and I do think that the state government in Queensland, and particularly the local council, are starting to listen to that and are starting to help deliver that product. Demand's going up, supply at best is staying steady, maybe even an increase. And if you look over the last 10 years, there has been very little, particularly in the apartment attached stock, being supplied. And when you look at land subdivisions, a lot of the stuff is yesteryear's product. Yes, there's a demand for 800 to 1,000 or even larger size allotments, but there's a very strong demand for lots at 450, 350 square metres where the built form is controlled. It's affordable, and people these days don't necessarily do a lot in the yard. They actually like to go to the parks. They'd actually like to use the Strand and those type of things. Their kids are doing things after school and so on. So the lot size isn't that important. What's important is the price point and the built form. So those type of supply constraints are still there. There's not enough of that stock. If you position Townsville into the property clock, and there's 4 stages to this market, this clock that works, it's actually a recovery, an upswing, a downturn, and a stagnation where not much happens. In the past, Townsville and other regional areas have been stuck in a stagnation period. It's only because either demand dropped, it was oversupplied, and this hasn't been the case here, or was overvalued, and that really wasn't the case neither. It's just that it went through a slack period where not much was happening economically, and population growth wasn't strong, so it just was bubbling along. We're now in a situation where we're in a recovery phase, entering the beginning of an upswing. I would be not surprised that if we saw generic values in this market increase 8 to 15% for the next financial year, and a lot of that growth will probably happen from the 1st of January when the first home buyers incentives across Australia kick in from the federal government, and then the following year, 2027 financial year, I think we're probably going to see that continue. So this is opinion, not advice, but I would not be surprised if we see movements of 15 to 20% in total, maybe even a bit more across this market in the next 2 years. So what's happening is that the older stocks held by older people, they've been in quite a while, they'd like to actually move. They don't have the energy to do anything. They probably have the money, superannuation and that, and they've got money locked up in their asset. They'll need to sell that to realise a better outcome for them. But they also don't have the energy to do anything about their home. They might be 60 plus, and they don't want to subdivide. They don't want to do that. But a younger buyer, young family, particularly if they're on the tools, and a lot of employment here is, they can do a lot of things themselves, or their mates can, or whatever. So they can live in the house and eventually subdivide it and get capital gains in that way. A lot of things that are likely to happen, not so much in inner Townsville, but those suburbs 1 or 2 removed from where, Castle Hill and so forth. Those suburbs are actually going to get a lot more younger people moving in there, but they're not going to sit on their hands. They're going to actually push development options and increase things, either to get somebody to help them pay their mortgage, build underneath, build something at the back, eventually look at saying, look, we're going to subdivide this now into block split, or we're going to put 2 next to us. And then when they do that, they're going to come out here because this is where the facilities are. These houses are bigger and new. but they're going to be able to facilitate, maybe even buy this for cash or close to it by doing that type of development there. And if they're smart, they'll probably keep some of that property to rent out. Now that might be multi-tenants, or it might be Airbnb or something like that. But if they're smart, they'll have that mindset. So that will actually increase the amount of new development, facilitating that first change of those older people moving from those locations out to a place like this. So is now the time to buy in Townsville? The answer is yes. To be honest, 18 months ago was better than it is today. But I think it's a good time to buy, and I think there's great value in this market.